With so much news around, it's the tragic loss of life of 2 police officers that commands my attention today. I'm sure it's grabbed yours too. These 2 young people signed up to protect and serve our community. Now their lives have been cut tragically short. And it could have been even worse. 4 officers were searching for a missing person when they were shot at while entering a remote property to further their inquiries. By all accounts, there was no warning, just a hail of bullets targeting the group. And Constables Matthew Arnold, 26, and Rachel McCrow, 29, were wounded. A 3rd officer received an injury to the leg, but he managed to escape, while the 4th fled into the bush to take cover in fear of her life. The assailants then approached the 2 wounded officers and at point-blank range shot them dead. They also lit a fire in an attempt to burn or to flush out the officer that was hiding in the scrub. It was clearly a callous and premeditated attack, and few will lament that all 3 of the assailants were later killed during a standoff with police. This is a tragedy at so many levels. Not only have 2 young officers given their all in the line of duty, the other 2 will carry a heavy burden from their own involvement as well. However, incidents like this forever alter the psyche, not only of those involved and not only of the police, but of all first responders. This time it actually happened to police, simply for doing their job. But who's to say such hideous crimes won't be targeted at paramedics or fireys or ambulance officers in the future? Let's remember, these individuals are generally the first officials on any crime or accident scene, and they attend solely with the intent of helping others. In the case of our ambos, we know they're there to save lives. Our fireys also do much more than just save homes and other property too, while our police do what's necessary to keep us all safe. Now, sometimes that means protecting us from ourselves, but often it's about protecting us from others. And we've got to be grateful that we have people prepared to step up to do these jobs. I mean, they're the ones prepared to enter highly charged, emotional, and potentially hostile environments every single day. And they do it to serve us. Most of the rest of us don't risk death or injury in our day-to-day work. Our first responders take that risk on every single occasion they sign on for a shift. But I doubt that anyone really expects any workday to end with their final breath. And as the ramifications of what's happened here reverberate around the nation, I've no doubt that opportunists will use it for their own ends too. I suspect in coming days there'll be more demands for gun control, as if that somehow will stop lawbreakers from obtaining illegal firearms. The law-abiding gun owner is not the problem here. And dare I say, the broader problem is actually a societal one. Mental health is a crisis in our community. And there are probably dozens of contributions to that, but I'm going to put, say, family breakdown, substance abuse, and a total disregard for authority probably have something to do with it. When school teachers cannot discipline children for bad behaviour and parents refuse to do the same, we're actually getting off to a bad start. And when politicians advocate decriminalising or legalising drugs that are associated with mental health problems, you know their priorities are wrong as well. And when grand displays of virtue are made on a global scale suggesting police are to blame for criminals and criminal acts, and then these virtue signals are backed in by big corporates and the political left, you know the world has been turned on its head. Now, you might think these have nothing whatsoever to do with the events yesterday in Wieambilla, and you could be right. Perhaps the 3 assailants had never used drugs, they had a wonderful and supportive family unit. Maybe they weren't exposed to defund the police campaigns. Now, personally, I'd be surprised if that were the case. But even if it was, it doesn't detract from my main point. Every change in our society has consequences. The wonderful experience of being human is that we don't take eons to benefit from change. Our evolution begins in our minds. We can learn from our mistakes and we resolve not to make them again. And that wisdom has been typically passed down from one generation to another through formal and informal teachings. But now those teachings have been ignored, or they've been replaced with social engineering experiments that are quite clearly doing our society a disservice. And that disservice is manifest in the lack of respect for authority, the lack of respect for oneself, and a lack of respect for others. Of course, it's not always demonstrated in such a brutal fashion as we saw yesterday, but make no mistake, The journey of these killer criminals, it didn't start with killing police officers. That's just where it tragically ended.